Early Saturday morning, I'm at the foundry. I got 3 welding projects here. This is the material for stainless steel French cleat system on one of Debbie's reliefs that we should be casting probably on Tuesday. This green stuff is my son's, I don't know what you call it, scooper deal. Fits on the back of his tractor that he bent up, and I've cut it so I can maybe get it straight and put it back together again. And this is a potential fuel tank which could solve my truckster problem of the electric pump over pressurizing everything. This involves positive cash flow. This is a toy. It involves negative cash flow. And my son's tractor, I don't think he's ever going to use this thing again, so it really doesn't matter. So I guess I really should do this one first. And if there's any time left, I can work on this one. So I'm gonna put this on the table, get it squared straight. It's 2 different frames. No, it's 4 different frames. And I may take a few little videos of that, but this is the fun part right here. Okay, this is a Grapple. I think that's the right term. It's on the back of my son's fairly new tractor, and I think it's a fairly new piece of equipment. And it is broken. And the previous owner has a similar problem with it. You see this weld and this spray paint? That's not original. So they send it somewhere for repairs. Now this is just half of it. The other half is right here. That hydraulic ram pin's right here to open and close it. And it's for picking up brush and stuff. Now apparently it wasn't too great from the factory because the previous owner had made this repair and this repair in addition to the other repair. So it's kind of jacked up right now. These tubes are supposed to be straight. We didn't realize that, but we looked at some pictures off the internet. So it has bent out and it has cracked. So it has bent in a curve and it is cracked here, cracked here. There's a crack here. There's a crack here and a crack here and a crack there, and they're kind of deformed. It's not just cracked, it's like mished out of shape. Now I can weld the cracks, but I can't put the shape back in it. See this, I don't know if you can see it, but this has a little curve to it and it's supposed to be straight. And this one too, it has a little bulge. It has a little bulge right here. I can't fix that. So what I'm gonna do is cut it all apart. I'm gonna cut it here, here, and here, and in the middle, and the other side. Lay it out, get it straight, weld it back, whatever I can weld. And I'm gonna have to add some structure to it, add some more steel to it. So apparently it'll just happen again. So get out the big boy grinder and cut this thing up. So the very center section, I believe, is fine. I don't think it's twisted. The plates are still straight. The bolt came out okay. So don't have to worry about that. But the side plates are a different story. They got a little curve to them, which makes the pipes face in the wrong direction. I left the 2 little ones because I think the relationship between this and this, I think they're pretty good. And I always cut them off later, but I think that's a good starting point. So I'm gonna try to straighten this out cold with this tool. If it won't do, I'll get the torch and heat them. But first thing we're gonna do is get these side plates flat. Okay, put the Beat-O-Matic on it and got it a whole lot better. I mean, it's not like flat with a straight edge, but it's order of magnitude flat. But these things are still not vertical, which they should be. So rather than cut them off and re-weld them, I think I'm gonna clamp this to the table, put some heat on here, and with the framing square, get them looking vertically. And I think that would be a big first step in getting this thing back together. So on the other one, I just used a torch and tried to bend it, and I could never get it hot enough. I just was chasing the red around. And this one I cut a slit about halfway through, made a big difference. So now the other one is not right. It's not far off though, so I'm gonna call them good. I'm gonna start sanding the paint off all these joints and see if I can't tack this pipe together all the way. Okay, we're up on the table. Trying to get it laid out right. This dimension from here to the bottom of the pipe, this height from here, from the table to the bottom of the pipe, is what I cut this little board. So I used the board to prop up the pipe, and now I have it clamped to a piece of metal. So this height should remain the same. Same on that side. The middle part at a right angle to the table. And the spacing, the only critical spacing really is between here and here, because that has to fit inside the other part of the structure. So, because this thing was so bent, when I cut a straight slot and laid this down where it's supposed to be, I got a tapered hole. So it doesn't matter if these sides are pulled in a little bit, they could actually be a whole inch out and it'd still work. This cut is weldable, very weldable. I'm just gonna take this, square this up. You can see it kind of like, it makes a ramp. Get it closer so I can weld it and put a good tack here and a good tack here and work our way up. I just have to maintain the spacing between these two so it'll fit back in the other part. I may even put it back together before I weld it out, I'm not sure. First two bars tacked, and once the top to the correct dimension, it just needed to be pulled like a 1/4 of an inch. I got this temporary angle welded, so I should be good to install all the pipes and weld it all up, because this and this are the same height off the table. I got the right space in there, and this is in the center between here and here, and it's straight up and down, and I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else I don't know how else the alignment could be corrected, so I'm going to start putting these pipes in, maybe weld them, I don't know, 15%, and then maybe put it together just to make sure. Okay, got all the tubing back in place. I wasn't expecting it to fit very well, but what concerns me is this side, I got them in by just grinding a little bit, and this side I actually had to cut pipe off. I don't remember it being bent asymmetrical like that. It seems like both sides were about the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and fit it back together before I weld anymore, make sure everything's copacetic. Okay, we have fittage. Fit okay. And it swings okay. It's pretty freaking heavy, but it swings okay. The only problem I see is that I'm not centered. Is that this is not centered on the tooth. So I guess with an uneven load, it could hit the tooth. I don't know what that difference that make. I may just bend it out a little bit. I'm not gonna re-weld everything because this is good. All right, so I'm gonna unpin it, put it back on the table, or maybe just hang it from the crane. Anyway, I gotta weld it all up, and then I gotta decide. It obviously needs more braces than what it was built with. If Junior's gonna abuse it like he must have been doing, or maybe it's just a crappy design. I don't know, but I'm gonna weld up the existing, and then we're gonna add some more steel. Trying to give this thing a little more strength, especially since it's made up with all my welds. So I put some 1-inch, this is just galvanized water pipe. Got 2 going this way, and I got 2 going this way, and this is stressor point. This is where it's connected to the cylinder, and it wants to try to break. So I think it'll help. So if it continues to be abused, it'll probably break again. But next time he'll have to buy a new one, because I'll spend enough hours on this one. All right, back together, all welded up, pretty much straightened out. And I have the 4 added braces, and I got my welds painted because they look better painted. And I don't know if it's as strong as new, but it's stronger than, well, maybe it is stronger than new. We'll see, time will tell. Well, I've kind of been giving my son a hard time about breaking this thing, but there's another side to the story. He had a monumental project in front of him, and he did the best he could with the tractor that he had.
So you put your propane torch to this thing for approximately 45 seconds. And this happens 20 minutes later, it looks like this. An hour later, it's this. Zero smoke. Incredibly frustrating. Really been focusing all the time on this pile and nothing.
So he paid a dozer operator to clear this little footprint for his camp. And the dozer operator pushed all the trees up into a pile and said, just burn them. And can't get them to burn. They burn, the pine needles burn off, but then he's put so much dirt mixed with these trees that the only way to get rid of this stuff, Colin's been spreading these piles out and picking up the logs one by one and making separate little piles and burning. And he's used the tractor to kind of back in and grab and drag stuff around just to spread them out, because he worked on this thing for a lot of weeks, and he's a hard worker.
Good one.
And there was no easy way to do it. He just had to spread these piles out and pull out the burnables and track in the dirt. It was very time and labor consuming.
Teamwork over here. We got a hay fire starter today. See how big we can make this thing. Good job, buddy.